90s, Jim Lee's X-Men run would help the franchise reach a new pinnacle of cultural capital, whilst establishing a new house style that both Marvel and DC would employ for years to follow. That kind of influence is a rare thing, and merits a deeper consideration, one that can perhaps best begin with the exact same question many enthusiastic fans found themselves asking when they first saw his drawings. Where did this talent come from? In a plot twist worthy of a comic book, Jim Lee's career began with an ultimatum and a ticking clock. After receiving a degree from Princeton, he was set to go to med school and follow in his family's footsteps by becoming a doctor, but he decided to go in a different direction instead. Lee was worn out by his undergrad and was not looking forward to the years of intensive schooling and residency ahead. At the same time, a drawing class had reconnected him to his artistic passion, and he decided that he wanted to pursue a career as a comics artist. His family agreed to let him try, but if he couldn't break into the industry within 1 year, he would have to go to med school. An amusing inversion with a medical career as Plan B to comic books as Plan A. Getting into comics from St. Louis was not easy, but Lee networked and traveled to New York, where he caught the attention of the famous Archie Goodwin, who then helped secure a gig for Lee on Alpha Flight, which led to Punisher War Journal, and finally to X-Men. Lee's work was clean early on, but failed to stand out immediately. This changed when Lee decided to incorporate the stylistic and kinetic perspectives of Jack Kirby, the first X-Men artist, into his own line art. The results were transformative. The last piece of the Lee aesthetic puzzle came when he paired with Scott Williams on inks. The weight and clarity provided by Williams' inks made an immeasurable contribution to the quality of Lee's artwork, and just like that, the aesthetic future of superhero comics was off and running. Lee's highly detailed designs, which combined tactical military elements with a classic space-age SF in sharp, contrasting colors, and yes, pouches and bomber jackets, caught on in a big way and quickly became an industry standard. Furthermore, Jim Lee's artwork on UXM represented a watershed moment in comics history, spurring an aesthetic transition from individualized character bodies to mythic but homogenized bodies, a tradition in comics that persists to this day, to the delight of some and the sorrow of others. Lee rendered all male characters with the bodies of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and all female characters with the body of a Barbie doll. To get this look, Lee relies on all manner of anatomical distortion, which is actually kind of funny considering that he was very nearly a medical doctor. Men have muscles that do not exist, women have proportions that basic physiology cannot support, and everyone has really, really long torsos. The result is exhilarating representations in which most every panel looks like a wall poster, and every moment becomes charged with a mythic energy. This aesthetic is not as unprecedented as some have argued, however. We saw a very similar homogenized body tradition in Greco-Roman sculpture, and relatedly in Renaissance painting. Lee's figure drawing may have been different from previous Marvel house styles, but the approaches underlying it were positively ancient. Furthermore, the epic bodies we see need not be realistic at all, but metaphorical, what Scott McCloud terms non-iconic abstraction, thereby adding a mythic connotation to the superhero story, one that, quite frankly, works very well with the genre's roots. On the negative side, homogenized bodies reduce diversity, a really important element in Claremont's work, and relatability, also key to Claremont. While the stark contrast between a male body and a female body can be seen to normalize essentialist views of sex and gender, again, at odds with Claremont's messaging. All this, of course, boils down to the notion that art, and aesthetics in particular, is subjective. Jim Lee's artwork is very much love it or hate it, but we can't deny its impact both on the tail end of the Claremont run and on the enduring tradition of representation in comics at large. Jim Lee went all in on his dream to draw superhero comics, and in return, the world of superhero comics went all in on Jim Lee. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about the Claremont Run project, you can find us on the web at www.claremontrun.com or on Twitter at ClaremontRun.